So first things first, I'm recording this at a different time, and the reason being is when I first filmed that original video last week, I recorded two in one go. So I batch recorded two videos. So the video that's come out the week before this, there's some noise issues on there where you can hear this like electrical sound, but because I recorded back to back, you can actually pick up the noise in this one as well. Now going forward, hopefully I've identified what was causing that, and I'm learning, as well as the lighting, because it's quite dark in there as well. And I'm playing around with different LUTs on my monitor and how I can just make this as easy as possible to create content, because the more difficult it is to create content, the more resistance I'm going to find. So for now, for me, just testing this and just getting out and getting stuff out there on YouTube, it's how do I make this as frictionless as possible. And so I'm learning. So apologies, the lighting's not as great, the sound's not great. Hopefully going forward, I'm learning, adapting, it should be. But I just want to apologise in advance, because I said on the last video, hopefully it should be different this time. But because I batch record and it's coming out the week after, it's still the same. And apologies for the mess in the background. I'm actually in the midst of moving house, and I'm about to create a video about that tomorrow. So that'll go out the following week. But I live in a small apartment, so my apartment is a mess right now, as you can see behind me. Like, I don't know if you can see back there, but it is an absolute mess, and it's a cluster. But hey, it is what it is. It's packing a house, but I will do a video about that tomorrow. But anyway, enjoy the video. I'd love to hear from you any life advices you've had or anything you're struggling with at the moment, because this piece of life advice I had from my dad was just fundamental. So enjoy the video. Just wanted to apologise in advance for any of the lighting. I'm learning. I'm just getting out of my way. That's the key thing. I'm just getting out of my way, and I hope seeing this and seeing behind the scenes actually also helps you to realise it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, just start, just get going. You'll figure things out. I think sometimes we don't see behind the scenes, and you see all this perfect stuff, and it's not. Like, I'm messing up and I'm failing, and I'm trying to make it work, or just trying to learn, to be fair. So anyway, but I wanted to be transparent with you, wanted to share this, and let's go.
So when I was 16, my dad probably gave me the greatest life advice that he gave me, or one of them I've actually ever heard, and I still use it 17 years later. So to give you a little bit of a context here, and how this piece of advice came out, and how you can also utilize this advice in your choices and life choices, is, so when I was 16, look, I struggled at school. I don't know what the schooling system like is where you are, but in the UK, we had what we call GCSEs, and I came out with 3 GCSEs, right? And it was, I think, English, Maths, and PE. And probably like you, I was told I was going to be a failure. Like, I struggled. Like, I remember one teacher just saying I'd go nowhere. I just struggled with school. School for me was a social thing, right? And I struggled the learning side. And I've come to learn that there's probably reason behind that. And although not confirmed, like suspected ADD and my attention span and stuff like that. And I just struggled with it, okay? So I went into this trial and this football college, and you know, I think there was around about 30 spots there. And I can't remember exactly how many kids were there. I think there was like 100, maybe more. I can't remember, because we're talking, you know, when I was 16, which is 17 years ago now. But I was in the fixed mindset period of my life, and I cared so much about what people thought about me. And not only that, like, because I've been struggling at school, I felt like a failure, to be fair. And so to go and trial on my footballing ability in front of 100 or whoever other people and be assessed for it, knowing for me that if I didn't pass it, because essentially if I got through the trials, I essentially didn't really matter too much about my grades as much. So there's a lot riding on it. And I remember we turned up ready to get out of the car, and I couldn't get out of the car. And for about 20 minutes, I just wanted to go home. And I'm going to be honest, I actually got tearful. I actually cried. I just felt a failure. Like, my whole, up until that point of the age of 16, I just was told nothing else. Not by my parents, but just by, you know, how much I struggled in school, and, you know, really struggling with that. And I thought, if I don't do this, then what is my life going to be? Which is crazy as a 16-year-old to be thinking in that. Like, your life is already over before it is. To be fair, that's can not be further from the truth. And I actually did another video, and I'll link it up here, about actually, you know, about reinventing yourself even when you're in your 30s. So it could be further from the truth. But what the moral of the story is, I didn't want to get out of that car, because I knew I had to succeed to get into that college. To be honest, to give me a chance. I you know, I had a dream as a kid, obviously, as a professional footballer, like most people do. And I thought that one was that I could maybe still progress my career as a professional footballer, but also two, just give myself a chance in life. And I didn't know it at the time, but obviously I was stepping way out of my comfort zone. I was into self-doubt. I had so much limitations creeping into my head. I was totally making mistakes of my way of thinking, to be honest. You know, I was comparing myself to others. I was trying to predict a future outcome, one that I had no idea of, and I was trying to, and to be fair, that still sometimes play out in today, and I've had to work on that. And the scariest thing was, I was not in control of the outcome, because going through school, even though I knew I was struggling, like at that time I felt in control when I didn't, and that's like life, right? You can't control the majority of the outcomes. But my dad said something to me that day that was so profound and stuck with me even to today when I make life decisions. And after 20 minutes of tears, doubt, limitations, he said something to me that flipped the switch in that moment. And he said, "Are you going to look back and regret not trying?" And I was. I 100% was. I knew that I was letting fear, self-doubt control me, and that will pass, that emotion will go. And I was 100% being dictated by that, and I knew I'd regret it. So let me just say that again. Are you going to look back and regret not trying this? And I don't know if he knew at the time what a profound statement that's had on me, but it has. That day, and again, I didn't even realize it, but that moment in time actually changed my life forever, because had I not taken that journey of football college, I have no idea where my route would have gone. And had that statement not been said to me, I don't know whether I would have, when it comes to other big life decisions, whether I would have looked at that. And I've probably used that about 3 or 4 times at big major decisions in my life. So don't get me wrong, I still overthink and I still analyze things sometimes, but I used it when I came to New Zealand and I moved back because I was only meant to be here 4 months. And my dad said, and I was meant to start this new job, and it was like 2 days before, and I hadn't even booked my flights. And my dad said the same thing again. And so I came back to New Zealand because I knew I'd regret it. I was letting fear and doubt creep into me. And I've been there now 7 years. And I've used it recently doing this stuff. Would I regret not trying to do YouTube or content or venture out on my own stuff and create my own life dreams? Yeah, 100% I would. And so I ask you, if you're sitting on a big life decision, a decision that's gonna, you're at that fork in the road moment and it's gonna change your trajectory, and you're umming and ahhing and you're thinking which way to go, and you're letting fear and doubt and the comfort zone make that decision for you, then ask yourself this: are you gonna look back and regret not trying? Because if you are, then you know your answer. If you're not, great, you've got your answer. And the one thing from that, whenever I answer that question, I'm at peace, because I know I've put that through that filter. And if I can ask myself honestly, am I going to look back and regret this without trying? And either way, whatever that answer is, that's at my core. And yeah, if it is me going out and giving it a go, it seems scary. I've not once looked back actually and regretted it. So if you're an overthinker and struggle with decision making, or those big life changes seem scary, then maybe ask yourself that question and let me know. I'd love to know what other methods you use, or any obstacles you're struggling with at the moment when it comes to one of those big life decisions, and what questions you're asking yourself to overcome, or comment anything can help. Maybe I can have a look and see what I've experienced and see if there's anything there I can share to help you overcome that. But maybe put it through that filter first and see what answer you get.